You're watching Guude. You're watching Guude. Fighting just to save our lives. Got you laughing every night.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
So,
Yeah.
we've talked about this set, I think, a few times, but I've never heard your final... What did y'all decide? Have you come together, you and Julia, and made a decision about...
Nope.
Has it... God, this would stress
I mean,
me out.
here's the deal. He's not even one.
Yeah,
So
I know. But
this
you know
Christmas
what?
Doesn't really matter.
It kind of does a little bit, though. And here's the reason why. It's because in pictures and stuff, whenever you look back at it once he's older, and you're like, and here's what Santa brought you. Or not.
You don't see that in pictures.
But, no, yeah, you do. Like, I have one of those, like, digital photography things, like that hangs on the wall and like it goes through pictures or whatever. And there's pictures of the stockings and stuff from my daughter's first Christmas that's part of that loop.
So you also got to understand, though, we can still get him gifts from quote unquote Santa. It's just the way we explain what it is and who he is. We can always say, like, there's a lot of people believe in this, this figure or whatever that does this. It doesn't mean we have to say, like, these are really from Santa. It's like when you get a gift from the dog.
So, okay, all right. So I don't want to harp on the Santa thing too much. So what about other aspects of things? Like,
what other aspects of things?
Okay, let's say y'all go to Disney at some point. Are you going to let him believe in magic, or is that like, you shut that shit down, son? There ain't no magic in this world.
As a person of science, it is so hard for me to try to think that I'm going to let my son believe in something that is definitely not true.
God, see, I feel like you get enough of that as an adult that it's okay to have that period in your life where there is magic, like there is the fairy tale, and because I mean, you only get a short period of time to have that, and I don't know, it just feels like I don't know, it makes me sad that you don't want him to have that, and I guess,
but. Oh God, why is there a witch over here? But it's one of those things. Like, I also remember stories about kids who used to watch cartoons and would die when they tried to jump out of a tree into a glass of water. Do you want them to believe that cartoons are real as well?
I mean,
oh my God, lightning just struck right behind me, and I wasn't even paying attention. I turned around and the ground's on fire.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, you should probably...
You don't see anything wrong with kids dying because they're trying to jump into glasses of water?
I mean, to me, that's not the cartoon's fault or the parents' fault. That's just like that kid. That's probably just survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest? Is
Yeah.
that what you're calling it?
Yeah.
But is it, when you're a kid, isn't survival of the fittest based on the fact of how you were raised to know what's good and what's bad?
I guarantee you, my daughter would not jump off of a building and to try to jump into a tiny glass.
And why not?
Because she's not an idiot.
But does she believe it's real? Probably. Is it because she doesn't believe in cartoons? Is it because she knows fiction from reality? And she knows that magic doesn't exist?
Well, no, she definitely doesn't know magic doesn't exist.
So I mean,
what about the Tooth Fairy and all? There's so many things. Like, and you're not.
I don't understand why it would be like the Tooth Fairy is a scary fucking thing anyway. Like, why do I want my kid to believe that somebody's sneaking into his bedroom at night? Like, it's not bad enough that some random guy's coming down your chimney and leaving shit under the tree. Why is somebody sneaking into the bedroom and?
Because they need the
teeth.
And
putting shit under his pillow.
They need the teeth.
Yes. I think he could have let him come get his teeth when he wasn't home, Are you somewhere to sleep? It's raining out here, and I need to...
I can be. I'm just gathering stone, basically. I don't know. I think... I don't know. Me and you're never gonna see eye to eye on this. Is this all there is to it?
Well, and who knows what is going to change in my perspective as he becomes more of a person as well. Because right now he is a baby who can't really communicate, other than his needs. Uh-oh, there's a zombie trying to get me. Okay, good. Thought you're in bed. Don't break our door, you bitch. He's not talking yet. It's funny because he's walking. He's like walking fully now.
Oh, nice.
Which is crazy. He's just over 9 months old, and he's just walking around the house.
Yep, that was about the time it happened with me too. Around 9 months. When I was there, I had a feeling it wasn't gonna be too much longer before.
Oh no, he's insane. I wish he would talk now because I want to know. Because sometimes he gets really upset, and I want to know, like, out of nowhere, he stood up today and walked over to me and just started crying on my legs and putting his hands up like he wanted me to pick him up. So I'd pick him up and then he'd push away. So I'm like,
babies, well, I don't think they even know what the fuck they want.
Well, but then he would continue crying too. Like, I'd put it back on the floor and he would be back crying at my leg. Like, was something wrong? Like, are you hungry? Are you, dirty? Right. Every time, he's wearing all these clothes. Every time he does that, you're not like taking all the clothes off to go find out if he's dirty or not. It'd only been, half an hour since his last diaper change. So I'm assuming he wasn't, but it's very possible.
Right.
That he was.
Yeah.
So it's always just one of those things that I'm just like, I don't know. I want him to talk so I can understand what he's going for here.
Yeah. Talking is a big one. makes everything so much easier.
Why do people believe in magic?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the whole. How many sperms do the boys have?
Enough.
I told you about
Plenty? That, right? I think you said something about. I don't remember exactly what the conversation was, but yes.
She started asking like all these questions about how exactly does the sperm get in contact with the egg, and yeah, I definitely told you about this. And then so I explained that, and then the next thing, like as we get to swim class, like as we're getting out of the car, there's another guy standing there, and that's the time she decides to ask, exactly how many sperms do boys have? Because she knows she has a finite number of eggs.
Oh, she does. She understands that there's a finite number of eggs.
Yes.
And it's probably upset that there's not an infinite number of sperm. Or that there's an infinite number of sperm.
I didn't say an infinite, honestly. I think I said enough. Come on, let's go inside or something like that. Or millions. I don't remember exactly what I said now. I think it was millions, actually.
I mean, the concept that women have a finite number and men have infinite number of sperm, it is something that is kind of baffling.
Well, I mean, it makes sense just because of how it all works, right? You're born with
like
them.
Evolution, you mean?
Oh no, you're born with them versus it's something your body produces over time. I don't know why. I mean, you should know because you're a medical professional why that is.
I mean, I don't know why that is. I know that is.
Yeah, I feel like you should know why too, though.
No. I mean, there's no reason for me. Like, in my opinion, why was the female anatomy not built to just produce eggs every month, produce an egg or two every month? Why did it always have to be there?
I guess now that I say that, with chickens, they're always there. So yeah, maybe. See, I was thinking there's got to be like a good reason why there's only so many eggs.
I mean,
I'm sure someone knows.
There could still be so many eggs to the point, but you just produce one a month, and at some point your body stops producing them. Would have the exact same effect as you have a bunch that you basically have to protect your entire life.
Right.
Like, that's the part that I don't understand as much.
I wonder if the eggs changed, like I mean, it's kind of what we talked about the other day about genetic memory and those sort of things. But I wonder if you took the eggs out of like a child, basically, if it's technically the same as once they're an adult.
So it's the same thing as that. So that, I mean, I guess it's a different question because we did talk about it with the sperm, and if we just are producing sperm as we get older versus it's the same sperm that was there from birth. Yeah, I guess that's an interesting question. Does it grow and develop? Like, do you have a smarter or dumber baby based on when it was that you know?
Egg?
Yeah, which egg and how old the egg was and what that specific egg developed into. That's an interesting question. But like the human body, as complicated and amazing as it is, there's definitely some things about it that, like, we have a brain that's protected in a very encasing skull. We have a heart and lungs that are like the control centers for the body. The blood will, if something goes wrong, the blood shunts to the center of your body to make sure the vital organs can still function. They're protected by like the rib cage and all. Why would you connect the brain to the rest of the body through like the thinnest fucking part of your body and the most susceptible part to damage?
Right. It's kind of weird that the evolution didn't kind of take care of that, right?
Yeah, like shove the brain and like make us have like these massively large necks, or shove the brain like also somehow in the center of the body. Like that's the part that really baffles me. And also, like, why does the right side of the brain control the left side of the body? It seems like that's
you should
more
know
work
more
to
about
cross
this
those
stuff.
connections. And I'm sure that I'm sure I've learned why somewhere in my schooling, but not being a neuro nurse. Just being a ICU ED nurse, I don't focus on the neuro system. I maybe just don't remember what it is.
Right.
But yeah, I have. That's the kind of things that I'm always like, this is weird.
I learned the other day that whales, you can see where they once had legs.
Wells?
Wells?
Wells? Like, I mean, why does the thing that I get water from need to have
Like in
legs?
the ocean. Like apparently they were once land mammals.
Whales?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so do you call the country Wells?
Wells? Yeah, Wells. Wells. Wells.
Wells? Wells? Is it Wales Fargo then?
Wells Fargo. Yeah.
It's a Wells Fargo. It is Wells Fargo.
It is. Yeah. What am I? Am I saying something weird?
You're saying Wells.
Wells. That's what they are. They're whales. Whales.
Whales.
What?
Whale.
Whales.
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 There's a hard A. Whale.
Whales? No.
You think it's Wells? You think the A is pronounced like an E?
Wells. Wells.
Well, that time you just said it right.
Wells. No, just Wells.
Whales.
Wells.
Whales.
Wells.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm saying it the same way.
No, I don't have to repeat this video back. You definitely said Wells before, as in Wells Fargo.
Wells.
Different than Wales.
Wales.
The plural of Wales is not the same as. It's not Wales Fargo. It's Wells Fargo.
Well.
Anyways, that makes sense that whales would used to be on land, just because they're mammals. Like.
Oh yeah, that's true. They are
why-
mammals.
Yeah, why are mammals in the ocean in the first place? That kind of is the baffling thing. But that could have been evolution. That
Yeah,
could have
like
been
what
oh,
happened
shit.
though? Who was the first whale that would just like walked in? It was like, I'm swimming now.
I mean, maybe there was back in the day of the dinosaurs or something. Like they were easier
Oh, like
targets
they'd-
for food.
Yeah, they had to escape maybe. Huh. That's interesting.
I mean, that would be an interesting thought. I mean, I always think of things in general dealing with evolution. Like, were dinosaurs really, like, we talk about them all the time because we can find their fossils and all, but was Earth around before that with a whole nother type of life that didn't get preserved in the same way that the dinosaur bones do,
Right.
or did? So
Well,
that
we
we
know
have
how
no
old
idea.
the Earth is, so I think we've kind of worked that out, right?
Yeah, it's 2,000 or so years. Isn't that how old the Earth is?
Oh lordy.
No, but I mean, things like, I don't know, realizing now how much bigger the universe is as well. With, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 being, outside of our own solar system and to the, other galaxies. They're really not, wait, are they officially in other galaxies?
I don't know.
But, Voyager, one of them, they just fired up the jet thrusters on the other day because they hadn't been run in years, and they're looking for a different way of doing some stabilization because something's going wrong with the current stabilization system.
Okay.
How? I don't get. How do you send a signal?
So I read a discussion on this actually. It's basically so like yeah, we talk about how hard it is to send a signal like a telephone signal or whatever, and then you're
Mhm.
talking about 21 million light years, 20 million miles. I can't remember what it was. It's like 21
Well,
something.
I mean, it didn't. It couldn't be 21 million light
Yeah,
years.
no, yeah, yeah. So
At
that's
most,
just
it could be like 21 light years if it was traveling the speed of light.
right.
Right.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think it's 21 million miles is how far away it is. Um, so there's nothing in between, and there's just the vacuum of space. So that's how you can like if something got in the way, then you couldn't. But it's the guy that on Reddit that described it was like if you were in like a vacuum and the only other thing there was a mouse and just you and the mouse and you were way across the room, you'd be able to hear it squeak because there's no disturbance between the two of you, basically. So there's nothing in the way.
So I guess that's kind of a bad thing for the concept of other life, then, right?
Why?
Because if it's that easy to communicate, wouldn't it be that easy to pick up other signals from other?
Well, that's the thing. It's not always. It's not
Or
always.
do
that,
we have to be pointed exactly at Voyager
Yes.
because we know where it's at because we launched it and that's
Yeah,
why it
exactly.
works?
Exactly. Like, yes, we're like dead on. We know exactly where it's at. And,
So something would have to potentially point a signal directly at us for us to get it without interference.
right, and we'd have to also be listening in that direction too. It's kind of
Right.
like SETI. You remember SETI?
Yeah, doesn't it still exist?
See, I know they were having trouble with funding a few years back, and I kind of thought they got shut down.
I mean, so was NASA.
Well, yeah, but that's how. I mean, that's how Elon Musk was born. He was born out of NASA's financial troubles.
Did how many eggs does NASA have?
They only had two, and one of them was used for Elon Musk.
Man, that's pretty good luck there.
Yeah.
No, the whole concept of like the universe and planets. Like I don't know. Well, I think we've talked about this before, but what your stance is on aliens. But I'm sure that there's some other form of life.
There's
out
gotta
in
be.
this
There's
vast
gotta be.
universe.
I still believe there's probably some form of life on Mars. Honestly, if we found water, and we have, I feel like that there's a good chance there's some kind of something. I wouldn't be shocked to find. I can't. I mean, I'd love to live long enough to where we were going to Mars and actually looking at it for fossils and that sort of thing, like we do on Earth. Because I feel like that there's a possibility that even like a human-based life form could have lived there some millions of years ago, and hell, that maybe we're descendants of it.
You think that way back in the day, Mars was going like we're looking at Mars as a possible place to save us in the future if we destroy the planet Earth. Maybe Earth was the safe haven.
That's
from
what I'm
the
saying. Yeah,
destruction of Mars.
right. It's totally possible.
Can you imagine if we did go colonize Mars and we're there for a couple of years and then we do enough research to find out that holy shit, this place is worse off than Earth is. That's why people left.
Right.
That would be interesting. I mean, I love the concept of aliens. Like watching things like Star Trek. The concept of first contact. Can you imagine if we're alive the day of first contact?
I mean, I can't imagine how bad we would fuck it up. To be honest.
You think it would fire on the aliens?
Probably. I'm sure we would fuck this up real good. I mean, because there's procedures for all of this, but when it comes down to it, a lot of people probably wouldn't listen. Honestly.
There's procedures?
Yeah. Yeah, there's an agreement amongst all countries on what to do.
What do we do?
I don't know. I have to look that up.
I mean, if there's an agreement, wouldn't it be nice for the people to know what it is?
I mean, the government.
What are the odds that first contact happens to the government officials?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hold on. Let's pull up the data on this.
By the way, people are probably wondering what I'm doing. Maybe one day you'll see. I just been digging a hole this whole time. Are you pulling up the data?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they make all these plans for it, and then one day the aliens come to my house for whatever reason, or I happen to be driving somewhere where the aliens try to make first contact, And then afterwards, can you imagine the government being like, well, I guess we didn't think that one through, that somebody besides the officials would be the ones to make first contact. That's just like poor planning.
I'm looking it up. It's called the 7 Steps of Contact. It was developed in the 50s, it looks like.
I mean, that was before computers were mainstream.
So this is kind of laid out the logical steps we would take upon discovering creatures with roughly human-level sentience. According to the steps, we would begin with remote surveillance and data gathering, and would eventually move on to covert visitations with the goal of gauging the performance characteristics of the aliens, vehicles, and weaponry. If we judged our technological capabilities to be superior to those of another race, we would attempt
We would destroy them.
we would attempt near approaches to the planet to determine whether the alien beings were hostile, and if so, by what means. If all went well, we would then make brief touchdowns in isolated areas, securing specimens of plants, animals, and of intelligent beings themselves. So we would kidnap them. In other words, this phase would involve non-harmful abductions, similar to those reported by the Americans. Interestingly, the 7 Steps of Contact plans predated the first reported alien abduction incident in 1957, suggesting the theory could have been influenced by the original 7 Steps. Next, we would make our presence known, making low-level approaches where our craft and operations could be seen, but not reached. We would try to be witnessed by the greatest possible number of inhabitants and would demonstrate our existence and our non-hostile nature. Lastly, if all went well and there was no reason to think that contact would be disastrous for the 2 races involved, we would land and attempt to communicate face to alien face.
Alien face. I will call you Alien Face.
That was in the 50s, though. I thought that there was a because that was just developed by the United States military. I thought there was an international agreement on what to do.
Ow. Some creeper wanted to see my hole.
Let's see, international alien first contact.
Uh-oh. Shooik. There's my hole. Oh man, there's so many creepers by my hole. This is bad.
Huh.
Oh, this is real bad.
TheSun.co.uk. Is The Sun a tabloid?
Get away. I don't know.
When I was Googling for the international first contact.
The Sun might be that place that I read about that nurse, fake doctor person.
Huh.
So it's possible.
Yeah, I feel like it's fake news. There's an article that Russians found bacteria
Aliens.
not from Earth on the International Space Station.
Oh, no. So that actually did happen this week, but it turned out not to be accurate.
Oh.
They checked it out and realized, oh, it really was like the same bacteria that we have on Earth.
That seems like a big deal. Surprised I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, you don't tend to read the news as much lately as I thought you always did.
I read whatever's on the front page of Reddit. That's about as far as I get. So if it's not Reddit worthy, I don't know about it lately. I used to read the news more.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if it turned out that wasn't? That would have been really...
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Really cool. Here. Oh, Skeleton.
Skeleton.
Mr. Skeleton.
Well, I think that's probably it for today. Honestly, I think we've You've
We
dug a
talked
hole?
about aliens.
Yeah.
I dug a hole.
Thank you guys for watching.
All right, guys. See ya.